Hello, this is Lindsay Boggs, and this is the final milestone for the Bane of Boreas campaign within the Fight the Dragon editor. This is the 5th level of the campaign. It is called Return to the Light, so it may look familiar. It is a nearly exact copy of the 1st level, because I had to go through and block by block recreate everything. And then of course everything is in snow, because the player's been gone for 4 levels now, and the snow only ended in the level previous to this. So it snowed and now it is melting, and that is what we see in all of the set design. And they also have some new areas to explore and a lot more enemies to defeat before we can end this campaign. So the premise leading up to this, the player just went to the mountain, entered the temple of Boreas, defeated him, and then returned home. So we're going to see some returning faces. At the mountain, which was level 2, the outside of the mountain was level 2. This man here was outside blocking his entrance because the mountain was dangerous, and then he unlocked the gate for us in the end and let us through. So he's come to our village. He's a traveling merchant, and he would like to stay here at the end of it all because he admires the kinship and cohesiveness of this townsfolk. So he's returning face. We have a lot of returning people from level 1. There's some deaths involved. And then, let's see, your mother's also here. So she shows up to congratulate you at the very end, and then she stands guard like a boss lady during the fight. But unfortunately, NPCs can't fight with you. But they can encourage you along the way. And then, once you've defeated all of these, so you walk in, talk to him, he gives you some potions once again to kind of help you out, because as you can see, this level is extreme. Actually, that is determined by, or it's not determined, it's influenced also by the proximity of enemies, I learned, because if you space these guys out even a little bit, it becomes a medium or a hard level. But when they are dense like this, tightly packed, it increases the difficulty, or at least how the level editor determines difficulty. And then, the higher the difficulty, the better the loot. So, really, it's the same amount of enemies, it's just kind of manipulating the system just a bit. For the player's benefits, that's okay. Anyway, you defeat all of these guys, and then this priest, who before was like, please save our town, again. This one is disabled, he's enabled, and he's like, hey, I unlocked the roof, because they've locked this door. So you enter in through the roof. And we finally get to go into this temple that we've seen since level 1. It's just this little tiny church. And we come down from behind the altar, sneak around here, and we encounter these 2 people here. These enemies are not spawned in yet, and these are NPCs. Because I wanted to give the player some time to collect some potions, because they're going to be a little out of breath, and then also this checkpoint gives them a life and gives them 150 XP to leech off of. I don't know if there's a better term for that. To absorb when they stand on it. So these things really help the player to face these overwhelming odds. And the same design thought process is applied to other areas of the level as well before I head over there. After the player... So they talk to these guys that say the exact same thing, and then they disable each other, so you can really only talk with one of them, or you can talk with both, but anyway, when you're done talking with them, all the enemies spawn. When all of the enemies are defeated, the priest will enter the room, congratulate you, and tell you that you are due a reward that he promised you in level 1, and unlock this staircase down the stairs, and you get this treasure room right here, which of course is the treasure of Helios, marked by this decal, and then you can go back up. When you have spoken with the priest and done all of your stuff, you can exit again. You don't really have to do all of that, that's optional, but it's highly recommended. That's what you've been working for. Anyway, you come up through here, and these logic nodes have been enabled since you killed all these guys, which shows the townspeople in a cheering state rather than a afraid state and enables God rays to show that the level is ended, you've done your duty, and you're good to go. So you come back up and you're met with all of these people who are so happy to see you, and the priest shows up again here, congratulates you once again and tells you that they had the locks changed because in level 1 he gave you the key to this exit point, which obviously you can't access until the end of this level. So he explains why that happened. The cult was trying to vandalize this stone, so they changed the locks, and he's like, here's the new set of keys. So that spawns in, and the player's free to leave, or they can explore and walk around and do some more things. Let's see. A lot of this is the same as it was in level 1, so it should feel pretty familiar, but the painting of the level should make it feel, different enough. We still have Alexander the Meh right here. He's my favorite, and all of these guys, of course, are labeled with their invisible NPCs on their gravestones. We have, okay, I want to come back and talk about that real quick, but the chests that were secret before are also here, just once again to reward the player for exploring a little out of range, which is also the process behind all of these smash destructible boxes and things outside of the main path, is just to encourage them to explore. Alright, what I wanted to talk to you about was that we have these other checkpoints here, which, like I'd said, give the player 150 HP to drain as they stand on the this pad here. So the player can take damage while also having their damage or their health being increased, so it kind of evens it out. And that's really my strategy for this game, even while playing other people's levels, is to go back to the checkpoint and fight from there until the 150 HP is depleted. But it's especially important, and then it also gives you an extra life. So they begin with 3, and so we come in here with 3. You can go right or left around the church. You have 1 checkpoint here and 1 checkpoint here for a total of 5, and then the last one is here, which gives you 6 lives to play with. Let's see. Other design factors. A lot of stuff was in set design. Fun fact is that the inside of this temple is proportionate to the exterior, and the windows are also placed in the same locations as they would be. So just kind of adding to immersion and trying to sell the point that this is a real, not a real world, but as realistic of a game world as we can make it. That's also why we have snow covering all of our objects, snow on the well, snow on the fountains, etc. So yeah, that is Returning to the Light level 5. Let's go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, so we spawn in. We knew we were headed home as of the last level, but as we walk in and look around, things start to look familiar. Changed, but familiar. Obviously, this is a very iconic piece of this level, and also level 1, since this is the same location. So we go ahead and talk to this guy, who should also look familiar to us, and he says, "I remember you from the mountain. Thank Helios you made it through safely. The followers of Boreas are refusing to give up their hold on your village. Please take some more potions and prepare yourself for the good fight. You can do it, champion." So we walk over here, and we can collect some potions, which are much needed. Then we can walk over here. We see the priest. He says, "Praise Helios, you've returned. The snows are melting and Boreas is defeated, but the cult is angry. Please, champion, help us be rid of them. They are destroying the village. They've taken control of the temple as well. Come see me when you've cleared the village, and we will enter the temple together." Now, the player may or may not pass by the priest and choose to talk to him, because the shadows are blocking him when they were back here, and they may see these guys and just run for them, which is fine, because this is purely flavor, and there's another reinforcement of this concept of returning to come to the priest when the player has cleared all of the enemies on this section of the level, they'll get like a self-talk notification that says, that must be all of them in the streets, I should go find the priest. And then also note, even our signs are the same as they were before. So, like I said, you can go right or left. I have, let's see, that, and then if I press tilde, it will give me my sword and everything. So here we go. Alright, so there's the first group. Let me kill these guys and then I'll go chat with her. And I've died. I have one spare life left. Oh, you do spawn. Oh, you have three. You have three, because you can also play with no spare lives as well. Alright. Here is the fisherman from the first level. If you recall, we were over here, and he was standing kind of near another man, but he was right about here, actually. Fishing, and then he gave us fish for us and our mom. So he's passed away, which is very sad. And his niece says, they killed my uncle, please leave us alone. Make them leave us alone. And there he is. Alright, so we come up here, take the checkpoint, and fight our way through. Alright. And we only used, what is that, 41 points of the given health available on this checkpoint. So that was pretty well. So, oh, hello. Okay, there we go. We've got people in the graveyard as well. And just like before, there are some loot chests in there, not loot, potion chests, to give us a helping hand. And if I was feeling overwhelmed at this point, I could retreat back to here and gain health and do my thing, but I didn't really need to. If you notice, it just said healer above one of the enemies' heads, and that is a random thing from the level editor. So every enemy has a random chance to get a special boost of some kind. And that's different with every gameplay through the game, whatever you like to say, game session, and it cannot be controlled in the editor, so it's just worth noting. Here's our snow-covered graveyard. With a snow-covered altar as well. Oh, and they can spot you, of course, through the fences, and they can try and corner you, but it ends up working out worse for them, actually, because we can do this. Oops, that was a bit of a fail. That. When you get overwhelmed, you can use magic right then. And then, of course, not to be forgotten, Alexander the Meh from level 1. Okay. Another checkpoint. And there's Mom. And she said, hey, go away. Okay. She says, be careful, honey, and fight like I taught you to. Because who else? A couple more enemies over here. Anybody else? Also, these breakable vases and everything have a possibility of dropping gold or potions or other little goodies for the player. So if they're really feeling overwhelmed, they also have a random shot at that too. Here's the guy that sold us grain. He just says, help, help. Okay. That was a lady that was so upset about her husband going fishing, and she's unfortunately been killed. This guy sold us wine. He says, oh, come on, let me at him. Nobody messes with my village. But he's, tucked back in here behind a corner, so. Anyway. Okay, so now I'm gonna retreat because I have like 1 HP left. Alright. And of course I gained an extra life with each of those checkpoints as well. This is the last enemy, after which point we're gonna get a notification that they've all been cleared. So there, that should be the last of them in the streets. And then 6 seconds later, I should go to the priest. I should go find the priest by the temple. You can also stock up on all of this loot that you've, unlocked and acquired. Pick up any remaining potions that you might have missed. And you can see that the number of enemies that we've put in here has increased our loot value, so we have some rare items that have been dropping. Quite a few of them, actually. That's a common item. So you can go through and prepare. Not that you really overly need to, but it's always nice to get the loot that you are owed. So, because of that notification that popped up after all the fighting was done, there was nothing left to distract the player. We may not have even needed to talk with this priest in the beginning, or we might have missed him, but it is reinforced, so they're at least getting one or both of those things. And then he's moved over, and he says to us, good work. We knew we could count on you. Now the rest of the cult has barricaded themselves within the temple. I've unlocked a secret entrance on the roof. Climb the ladder, and you will find the trapdoor above the altar. I will find you when the cultists are dead. May Helios keep you in his light. And so, that's an explanation as to why we can't enter. And we don't need to talk to him to enter the roof. He's already clearly unlocked it by the time he got back down here, so that would be a little bit ludicrous to have to talk to him just to unlock this trapdoor, or to climb up here, find it locked, and then go back down and connect those two things. So you do not need to speak with him to unlock this door, which is fine. But it is unlocked when all of the enemies are killed. So at the end of the level, I'll go through and show you that that's locked on start. Anyway, we come in here, and the player has some breathing room. They don't need to be launched into combat right away. They see people who are clearly enemies in some chests. So, logic would have it that they would open these, because they're in a closed room that looks like a little battle arena. And so, if I talk to this person, just the first line, it says, now we have your precious temple of Helios. If I walk away from him, because the code triggers on conversation exit, or at the end of the conversation, which is different than just walking away. So, as you can see, hers is the same thing. Now we have your precious temple of Helios. But most people just press the F key to go next, and she says, and he would also say, you will pay for what you did to our Lord Boreas, and then you hit F, everybody spawns in. Also note that the treasure room is not yellow right now, it's all turned off. Okay. And everyone is dead. We have gold. The priest has arrived. We have a rare item drop. And he says, You did it! You are truly a champion chosen by the sun god himself. As promised, a reward is waiting for you in the treasure room, just down the stairs. Please accept it with the thanks of the village. And of course the player can see that light turn on. So we go downstairs, we enter the treasure room, and we get our treasure, which there's lots. Some rare and common things. Extraordinary, I just saw. I think if I hit tab, I'd be able to look at that. I'm not sure what kind of item it was, so I might need to, let's see. Extraordinary. That's pretty cool. I haven't actually seen an item like that yet. So, anywho, we have these other chests. And the important thing to know about this game as well is that junk items can be sold and then, contributed towards a shrine within the, like, lobby area, overworld, whatever you want to call it. They are not worthless. They're not literally junk. Anyway, he says the same thing as before, and then we are free to climb up, also noting that you can't exit from this way. You have to go back the way that you came. So here we are on the roof. It becomes brighter outside, and the god rays have given us this warm, fuzzy feeling that we have just completed our game. We can hop down, because, you know, who uses the ladder, and talk to Mother. And she says, "You did it. I'm so proud of you. My kiddo, the champion of Helios, I always knew you were special. I'll make your favorite food for dinner tonight. I'm so glad you're home. Cabbage Man." Oh wait, first Grain Man says, "We're safe again thanks to you." Cabbage Man says, "Praise Helios. I will be able to plant my cabbages again soon." The niece says, "I wish my uncle had survived to see this. He would be so happy to see this village rid of the cult." This lady told us that, not you. Okay. Priest. Here's the squire, wine guy. "Way to go. I'll bring you a barrel of my best wine. You deserve it." And she says, "The champion of Helios, I'm so thankful I knew you would come through." And then the priest, of course, he says, no. Okay. "Helios knew what he was doing when he chose you. Since you've been away, we had to change the locks on the sacred stone. These cultists are terrible vandals. Here, this is the new key to the sacred stone of Helios." So now we can grab this key, and we are free to leave the level. Worth noting is that everything else, except for the bodies that we actually killed, has been cleaned up. So Mom is, of course, by the church. She's not still over here. Everybody has actually relocated, just for the sake of, you know, consistency and everything. And you're still free to collect any remaining loot that you might like to pick up. Have a look at the backyards here by the river. And note that we can jump across just as we did before. And pick up some loot, wander around, explore the other side of the bank, if we so choose. And bask in these sun rays. Alright, we don't need to go all the way to the end, but we might as well, since we're already over here. And of course we can kind of see across our river. Woo. Okay. And that's game. Oh, actually, I do need to take take you over to the stone. Oh wait, I forgot to show you this guy. He says, "You have truly proven your strength, adventurer. I admire the cohesiveness and kinship you have in this village. I would like to move here permanently. I have goods and wares to help replace what you lost in the snows, but first I need to travel home and discuss it with my wife. I hope to see you again." So, that is the end of the level, and here we are back in the editor. As promised, I wanted to show that this is locked on game start, so let me just jump back in really quickly. There's our original priest telling us the village is kind of occupied at the moment. But as you can see, even if they were exploring up here, this would not be unlocked until they killed everybody on the ground level first. So yes, there we have it. Alright, that was Returning to the Light, level 5 of the Bane and Boreas campaign. Thank you so much for watching.